If you've ever used a crypto app, connected a wallet, or deployed a smart contract, there's a good chance you've already interacted with a testnet, even if you didn't know it. But what exactly is a testnet? And why do developers spend so much time testing on fake networks before they ever touch the real thing? To understand testnets, think of them as a training playground for blockchains. A testnet is essentially a parallel version of a blockchain, designed for testing. It looks and behaves like the main network, but it runs on its own chain with its own rules and its own fake tokens. On Ethereum, it's called Sepolia. On Bitcoin, there are testnets like Testnet 3. On Polygon, there's Mumbai, and so on. The key idea is simple. Mainnet is the real highway. Testnet is the closed track where you can crash, fix, and improve without hurting real users or real money. Why do we need testnets at all? Blockchains are unforgiving. Once you deploy a smart contract on mainnet, the code is live, and bugs can lead to real losses. A single mistake in logic, a typo in a condition, or a misconfigured permission can result in millions of dollars disappearing. So developers don't deploy directly to mainnet, they deploy to testnets first. A testnet lets them test transactions and gas mechanics with fake tokens, deploy smart contracts and see how they behave under real-like conditions, interact with DApps, wallets, and bridges in a safe environment, share early versions of a product with testers, and get feedback before the official launch. In 2026, testnets are not just a nice-to-have. They're a core part of the development cycle. Before any protocol upgrade, before any new feature, before any big product launch, everything goes through multiple testnet phases. How do testnets actually work? Technically, a testnet is its own separate blockchain, with its own genesis block, its own validators or miners, and its own network rules. It mirrors the mainnet, but it's isolated. If something goes wrong, it doesn't affect the real chain. Instead of real ETH, BTC, or Matic, you use test tokens, often referred to as test ETH, TBTC, or similar. These tokens have no real value. They exist only for testing purposes. To get test tokens, developers use faucets, websites, or bots that give away small amounts of test crypto. You paste your wallet address, and the faucet sends you a few test coins that you can use to pay gas, deploy contracts, or interact with DApps. From a developer's point of view, the process usually looks like this. 1. Write the smart contract or DApp logic. 2. Deploy it on a testnet using a test wallet. 3. Run hundreds or even thousands of test transactions, exploring edge cases and extreme scenarios. 4. Fix bugs, optimize gas, and improve UX. 5. Only when everything works smoothly, move the code to mainnet. Testnets are also used for security audits and community testing. Before a big upgrade, protocol teams release a testnet version of the change. External auditors, white hat hackers, and community members jump in, searching for vulnerabilities, stress testing the network, and reporting issues. That's how many critical bugs are caught before they ever see real money. For newcomers, testnets are incredibly useful as learning tools. If you want to understand how wallets work, how gas fees are calculated, or how smart contracts execute, you can do it on a testnet without risking anything. You can send transactions back and forth, connect your wallet to DApps, deploy your first simple contract and watch it execute. All of this happens in a sandbox where failure is not only allowed, it's encouraged. But testnets are not perfect. Because they're free and not tied to real money, some networks experience spam, bots, and fake activity. Some test tokens are easy to obtain, and the environment doesn't always fully reflect the psychological pressure of real trading. Still, they remain the safest and most practical way to experiment with code and protocols. In 2026, The relationship between testnets and mainnet is tighter than ever. As blockchains grow more complex, with multiple L1s, L2s, and app-specific chains, every serious project is expected to test on multiple testnets, run staged rollouts, gather feedback before going live. So what's the real takeaway? A blockchain testnet is the safe training ground that keeps the real network stable. It's where developers break things, fix them, and learn without putting real users at risk. For app users, it's a place where you can safely explore the ecosystem, test new features, and improve your skills. For developers, it's an essential step between idea and product. If you're building, learning, or simply curious about crypto, view testnets not as fake blockchains, but as the backbone of everything that eventually runs on mainnet. Once you understand that, you start seeing the whole ecosystem differently, not as a single live network, but as a constant cycle of testing, learning, and improving that never really stops.